I went into this race without a crew, and it's harder, I think, without a crew, especially when you're doing a very long 100 miler or more, or even 100 Ks. It's just because when you have somebody there to take care of things and you don't have to do it, and they're a lot more clear-minded because they haven't run like 50 miles already, so they're not really tired, and they get everything ready for you, and then you get to the aid station, they just pack, you tell them what you need, and then they put it on you, and then they tell you to go. And without a crew, a lot of time is you would go there, you would get stuff, feel a little tired or very tired, then you would sit, and then you would just chill, and you would just look for stuff. And sometimes you spend a lot more time at the aid station than you really want if someone is not there to tell you to leave. And also with packing, without the aid station there, you really have to be organized. I have to really organize everything that I pack, how much water I expect to drink, and a little bit more, all of the things I'm going to eat, even if I'm not going to eat them. I brought them just in case. And one thing I did that you didn't see in the video yesterday when I was packing, well, not yesterday, but the day before the race, was I put chips and whatever I was going to eat into Ziploc bags, so that way I can just go to my aid station, grab what I wanted, and then just walk and eat at the same time. And I think that really helps a lot. Otherwise I would just stand there and then have like the whole bag with chips in my hand and then eat and then go. You know, I'd rather just have a small amount and then go and eat at the same time, because I can cover, you know, like a half a mile or a mile before like 100 miler or more. Going and eating, for me at least, at the same time covers more ground, and because my leg can still go at that moment and I don't need rest, so I would just grab whatever I need, get my drinks, and then go. The goal of the race was just to go through the 24 hours, get to the last hour and not stop before the last hours like I did before, and then try to cover 100 miles in the 24 hours, and also go through the night without stopping. And like last time I took a nap of an hour, and then one like an hour and a half or 2 hours at the Sandhills, and it probably cost me some miles there, probably like 6 or 7. If you add that in, it'd be 90. Even though I wouldn't reach 100, it would have been closer. So in this race, I really focused my nighttime working on it, because I know I really need work on it, because that's when I'm really tired and exhausted, and I just want to lay down, take a nap, and go to sleep. This would be my second attempt at 100 this year. The first one failed, the Sandhills I just talked about, and then this would be the second one, so hopefully I can get through it. But I just have to follow my goals, what I plan on doing, and just execute. And the plan of the race is walk and jog. I'm gonna go for 3 minutes walking and 3 minutes jogging for the whole entire time. It won't be exactly on the spot, because sometimes I forget. I'm gonna really just go through the course and see what the course is like, and then pick spots, and then, you know, that is equivalent to close to 3 minutes where I can walk and jog, because it does have a lot of elevation up and down, kind of like rolling hill. Not a lot, but enough for where, you know, you would prefer to walk at certain places and jog certain places, like, you know, slightly downhill, for example. At this moment, I know what the course is like. I went around there about 20 or 25 times already, and me and Tim picked markers of where we're gonna walk and where we're gonna jog. Yeah, Tim was following what I was doing, so hopefully what I did helped him. And so we got some sticks. We marked down where we think is the best place to jog, and then where we would walk. And we did trees. We picked trees for our markers. We picked the bridges for our markers. So things like that. It doesn't have to be, you know, like a marker or a flag. It's just when you do the loop so many times, you know exactly where. I think it's at nighttime when you don't see, it's hard to see, but you can kind of figure it out with your headlamp if you can see a little bit of what the landscape is like. One thing we did in this race was me and Tim have to walk and jog markers, and then we have at certain places where we could either walk or jog, but it's really short. It was probably maybe 20 meters or something, so it's not long. But each lap I would make a call or he would make a call, and as in once we get to that spot, either walk or jog. And if someone says walk, then we both walk, and if whoever's turn it is says to run or jog, then we would run and jog. So that kept it going for a while we were together, so that made it interesting, kind of fun. So that might be something that you want to try, just trick your mind to, you run a little bit more in certain locations. One of the challenges for a loop course is mentally, when you're doing the same loop over and over, a lot of people would get bored. My very first 100 mile ultra was a knock on wood, and it was a 5-mile loop, and I wasn't used to it, so it kind of bored me towards the end, because you're like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. Well, this one is only like 1.5 mile loop, and yeah, we have to go to get 100. It will be like 67 miles, I think, at the time I was thinking. So 67 loops around to get the 100 miles. At this point, about halfway through, around the 50-mile marker, I'm getting dialed in with the course, and I know where I'm going, what I'm doing, what I do when I approach the aid station, and then when I leave, where I run, where I jog. So I'm feeling pretty good at this moment, and I got my nutrition dialed in. And one thing is nutrition, you want to get the nutrition in you all the way from the start of the race, not when you feel like you need the nutrition, because when you feel like you need it, it's probably a little bit too late, because it takes time for your body to digest and then get it to your muscle groups. You want to consistently get the food in time that you plan on, and then see how your body feels and recognize it and adjust as needed. I'm going to list all of the nutrition that I use up here. Most of them is Hammer Nutrition, and then food and water. The electrolytes tablets that I use from Hammer, I use it every hour or 2 hours, especially when I feel like a cramp is going on, either in the shoulder or in the leg or in the hips. Then when I get to the aid station, I will take a tablet. One thing I noticed that helps a lot is a Ziploc bag, where I mentioned earlier. I just got it and I just go. So I would just walk for, every time I would grab onto it and hold it, and when I take off and I run like normal, and once I get to my walking session for the 3 minutes, then I would start eating some, and then I would stop, I'll hold it, and then once I get to the walking session again, I would eat more, and that kept me moving while eating at the same time, which I think helped me cover some distance. Okay, we're here. This is where the race starts, when it's like a mile 75 or 80, and it's at night at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, when you're exhausted and tired and you want to quit. I got my headlamp out, and I had 2 headlamps. One was a backup, the other one was the Perpetuem that I had, the new one that I used for the sandhills, and that one was good. I had it in low light level, and it lasted me for, I think, about 6-7 hours. And it was about 6 o'clock when the battery starts to die, and then I went to the aid station and got my backup, and I used that for, I think, like an hour and a half or 2 before the sunrise. And it's really, really important to have your headlamp, have a backup. You might even need a flashlight depending how far you go. I knew that this loop was short, so I can go back to the car, so I didn't bring it with me. But if you're gonna do like a bigger loop or a point-to-point, make sure you have the backup with you, because if you don't have the backup headlamp or the flashlight with you, you really can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. And when you stop and you're not moving, when it's cold and chill at night, it's gonna get really, really cold. No lie, I was feeling really, really drowsy and tired and sleepy again around like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. I was walking and I was kind of dozing off, and walk off to the side and ran into the grass sometime, but it just wakes me up when I do that, and then I get back on. But I was kind of going like left and right in a zigzag going forward, but I didn't hit anyone, or I didn't fell down and I didn't fall asleep, so that was good. At night, when you get to the aid station, make sure you get what you need and then go, because it gets really, really cold at night depending on where you're at. It was dropping for, I was up here in Carolina, it was like 90 and 80, so I'm used to the hot weather. But this week it got cooler pretty quickly, so during the day it was like 65 or 70, which was great for running and being outdoors. And then but the night it dropped to like 40 or so, or 45, and I wasn't used to that, and I got really, really cold really quick if I stopped and I noticed it. Like I was kind of feeling the chills So I would just get the food or whatever I was needing. I would start walking and jogging right away just to keep my body warm. Otherwise, I'd get really, really cold. The walk and jog session, or the marks where we're gonna do it, and the little game that me and Tim made up where we will walk and jog, that small session, really helped through the night. Because through the night, you don't want to run or jog anymore. You just want to walk because you can barely stay awake. But when I was in there mentally, I got to the point where I would jog, and I would say to myself, you know, no matter how slow you go, just jog to the next point where you will walk. And then I would do that. And every single time I would get to a point where I should jog, I would just tell myself that, and I do it. I did it. I went through the night. Every point where I get to the jogging spot, I would jog all the way to, you know, like the next 3 minutes or close to 3 minutes, or the next marker where I would stop. And that kept me going. Otherwise, I think if I didn't have that mindset going into the race and then already see what I was going to do from the beginning and planning, then I probably would just walk the whole entire time because I felt so comfortable walking instead of running. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but you want to use the weather to your advantage. You know how your body works. You know, like, you run probably better when it's a bit cooler than when it's like really hot and you're sweating a lot. Your body's using a lot of energy, removing fluid and energy away from your working muscles and go into cooling yourself. In this race, it was like 60-some degrees, so it felt really nice, but I was starting to get sweaty, so I took off my shirt, and that helped to cool my body down where I didn't sweat too much, like when I was wearing a lot more clothes. And I pretty much had my shirt off all the way into about 1 o'clock when it got cooler, but I felt okay because I was still moving. Now, if I didn't move and I stopped, it would have been really cold, and I would have put more clothes on. So I kept on going, using the weather to help me cool down when I'm actually moving. And at night, I think at 1 o'clock is when I actually was still moving, but I felt cold. And then that's when I got to the aid station and then put more clothes on. So I had on like a thin layer of long sleeve, a t-shirt, a cotton t-shirt, and then I had a windbreaker. I had the 3-level just in case if I got hot again, because I don't know what I'm gonna feel at night. So I put it on so that way I can take off layers if I need to. But for me, it was cold, so I pretty much wore it all the way to morning. At 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, with about 4 or 5 hours left, I was trying to see how many miles I have left and how many laps I need to do to get to 100. Well, when I was checking with, Trey, who worked at the booth, with the timer, like how many laps I needed to do to finish the race or to get to 100, and in my mind I thought it was 67 laps. But I just divided 100 by 1.5 miles and I get like 66.6, and I round that up to 67. Well, it turns out that the course is 1.45 miles, so the lap you have to do was 69 laps to get 100 miles in. And I was like, oh no, because I was calculating, I knew I can get to the finish line or to cover 67 laps with the remaining time, but 2 more laps, even though it's only like 3 miles or less than 3 miles, it was like I have to pretty much run the entire time, or most of the time. Instead of doing the walking and jogging, it'd be like running or jogging like 90% of the time instead of like 50 or 60% of the time. And I was having my doubts of not getting it. So for about 3 or 4 laps at night, when I recognized that, I started to jog a lot more, but I was exhausted and really tired, and I was on the bubble of like, oh my god, like I'm not gonna hit it, but I'll just keep on going. And after a few more laps, like maybe an hour, 2 hours later, I thought to myself again, and then I recalculated, well, I did something wrong, but the math didn't come out right. But when I recalculated, I can do the exact same pace for the next, I think, 3 hours, and then I would get to the 100 milers at that point. So I think at night when I was just exhausted, I wasn't thinking clearly, so I did my math wrong. I kept on going at night, and it felt a little bit better towards the end where the sun was about to rise. And once the sun rises, you just have new energy for some reason, or for me at least. And I just felt better, and I just pretty much keep it consistent, walk and jog the same. I was able to walk and jog instead of like the last few 100 milers. I was just walking the last 30 miles or last 40 miles. So I was really proud of myself that I could even walk and jog a lot better than before. And when I got up to 100, my very last lap, which I made it through. I was really proud that I accomplished, went through the night without sleeping. Was dozing off, but I went through the night without sleeping, so I accomplished that. I got to the finish line under 24 hours, getting 100 miles in, so I got that in. And I went all the way to the last hour that I didn't stop with, you know, a few hours to go or anything, like the sand hills. So I was really happy. I went through, and a lot of people left already. There was only a few people that was still there, like the race director, and a few other runners, and that was finishing up. And yeah, really excited. I got through, so I got my first 100 miler of the year. And unexpectedly, I thought I was in like the top 5 or top 4, but it turned out I got first place for the male. Well, going to the race, I was just wanting to accomplish my goals, and that's all I was focusing on. But when I finished, I came in first for the male, so I'm really happy for that. This is my really first time getting first place in 100, or really in an ultra, so really excited about that. The field is small. I think when I look up the results, there was only like 30 or 29 runners, so not much runner, but it was for fun, just go out there and do it. Met some runners, talked to some people, so that was fun. But I'll take it. I'll take the placement. I never had a placement like this in ultra before, and excited, looking forward to other races coming up. So that's my 24-hour race recap for the back 9 24 hours. I hope it was helpful. Maybe some stuff that I did or used in the race would help you. You have any questions, let me know. Comment below. You have any requested videos, let me know also, and then I'll try to make it when I can. I hope your running and training's going well. I think staying healthy and just getting out there and do stuff really helps with your mental and physical. So keep it up, stay healthy, stay fit, and keep on moving.